this thing was for me, regardless of where I was at, and it wants the best for me, and that's it. This thing's for me. It wants the best for me, and it will. I kind of got the sense that it would never leave me. I'd never be abandoned, and that kind of thing. And that.
Mate, so we're obviously me and Alan are ministers of churches, and we grew up going to church together, didn't we, mate? And
yes.
I thought we could just chat a little bit about that. And I know for you had kind of, I wanted you to share that experience you'd had of faith, because in your faith that you kind of, I know you would be first to admit, like all of us, faith ups and downs, not a smooth sailing at all, but that you'd had this experience that kind of is something you've held on to over the years. Do you mind just talking a little bit about that for us, mate?
Yeah, of course. So I guess probably the easiest way to understand, I guess, where I'm at now and where I was before is I was always, and this is through, I don't think this is through any fault of anybody's in particular, but I was always quite fearful, particularly of things like death and like, the H words, hell and stuff like that was just always used to play in my mind. And I think it's because naturally as a person I would catastrophize. So if I knew there was, something out there, this floaty concept called hell or whatever, then I'd be terrified of it all the time. And then every day I would think, have I somehow messed it up? Have I somehow kind of made it so that I'm completely ruled out all the time of heaven? And
mate,
but then
sorry to interrupt. I think that is totally not a unique experience.
No.
I think a lot of people feel like that feeling that they're not good enough. Like I think,
and no matter how hard I try, I'm still not going to be good enough.
I still feel that at times. Like I think it's a shared experience for sure.
I think we were made to feel that way as well. Not necessarily on purpose, but it was like the culture around it, possibly in the day, that was a culture, I think, anyway.
I think.
I think, mate, carry on. Sorry, but
no, it's all right. But I was going to say, like, I think it was always. Again, but through no fault of anyone. This is my own personal journey. But like, I would always feel like that there would be and our church was very good at sort of encouraging, I guess, inclusivity, trying to spread the message of like, wherever you're at, whatever it is you're doing, you'll be welcomed and accepted, and then there's a better life for you if you follow these teachings and whatever. Yeah. But there's still the underlying current and the kind of unspoken thing that hell as a thing exists and all that kind of stuff. So that used to absolutely terrify me, and I used to be like, it drove me to, like, fear would be my biggest motivator within Christianity for a long time, because I just didn't want to get wrong. And then I had, like, probably later on in my life, but I had I guess like almost like an evolution of my faith and what I believed in and stuff. And I came away from the church, as in I stopped going, and I wanted to try and work out exactly what it is I thought God was, and understand exactly where I stood and all of that, like, independently. But an experience that I've always held on to, and it's actually driven me to centralize on one central thing, which I think it remains to this day, which was we were in I think it was like a worship session that was led in our, like, church building, and it was, I mean, no disrespect, I don't mean this to sound disrespectful, but it was fairly unremarkable in as much as, like, I'd been to a million of these before. There was nothing particularly notable about it, apart from the fact that I just suddenly had this weird experience where I was just seeing this sort of, like, vision of what can only be described as me. It's gonna sound well cheesy now. I'm hearing it in my head before I tell you guys. It's me on top of an eagle, like, flying. I'm not flying. The eagle's flying. I'm just there as a passenger. And it was kind of like over this sort of, like, almost like Switzerland sort of mountainous sort of wood scene, just there holding on, and there were no words spoken. It was almost like a really protective partnership where I was being led and I was being kind of what it felt like, whatever was going to happen, like, me and this thing that I was on, like, riding was going to this thing was for me regardless of where I was at, and it wants the best for me, and that's it. This thing's for me. It wants the best for me, and and it will. I kind of got the sense that it will never leave me. I'd never be abandoned, and that kind of thing. And that central sort of pinpoint feeling, it was really like super emotional. I remember I cried an awful lot that night. Big fat man tears were just coming down like snot and all sorts. And that was really rare for me. Stuff like that didn't really happen to me that often for that. So it felt super genuine and really quite cathartic and really like releasing. And then so then anything that happened after that, which is when I started to kind of rethink some of the things I believed in, that one theme sort of stuck with me forever. And I've got like this feels like a humble brag now. I've got like where is it?
Look at him getting the guns out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an eagle there somewhere, but basically this whole picture, I can't do it right, but there's like a family tree here, and above that there's Jodie. Look, there you go. She's single mum.
Yeah.
Under your arm.
Anyway, it's there. It's there. There's an eagle. You can probably make it out. Anyway, the point is that was kind of my homage to my relationship with who I believe God is. Someone that I think is, I think God's for you, and and is a really big positive force, and that's something I can pinpoint. And anything else that happens around that, in terms of not to get too deep, whatever, but to like doctrine and things that drive beliefs and stuff. That's the central point for me, and that's something that still warms me. And